When I was growing up, I'd spend 2 weeks in the woods with my dog. Sleep up in trees and whatnot. You know, it wasn't comfortable, it wasn't nice, but it kept my senses alive. I could, you know, hear the birds, I could, you know, sense the owls, I could sense things. I challenge myself daily to like do something I'm uncomfortable with. It continues your growth, and as an artist, you don't get so numb. The idea is to kind of bring them back, you know, and to be in tune with nature. That's why I do the horse thing, that's why I do the surf things. That connection is amazing.
Jeff is the most real, proper American gentleman you could know.
He's doing his own thing, and he's having success with it, and it's great, and you can tell he's happy.
When he comes to us and makes these artistic presentations of his clothing lines, he brings the band. He tells a story, the band plays great music.
To hear that Jeff is really looking carefully at not only the materials that he's using, but the dyes that he's using, even growing some of his own dyes. That I was really thrilled to hear, and I think is a model for other people in the industry.
This is old school. Remember these in school? Yeah, they don't do the best, but. Actually, I forgot it. It's good I'm doing this. I forgot about a dress I was gonna make, actually. Yeah, I left the pattern here, so when I was in LA, I couldn't do it. As a young kid, I used to steal my Barbie's sketch pad and like go in and stamp, you know, little skirts and draw on them and that kind of stuff. And obviously, being a Southern boy, it wasn't the, you know, coolest thing, so I did it behind closed doors. And I'm gonna trim out the bottom hemline. Some of these. Did all the sports and everything, and then I eventually started taking apart clothes. My grandmother taught me how to sew, and kind of, you know, moved on from there. And the actual dresses themselves come in visions. It's usually like the last 9th hour, but the best ones come at the end, I think. My grandfather worked at the Oak Ridge factory in Tennessee. The Manhattan Project. He was the lead scientist, brilliant guy. I used to grow up in his basement just making radios, and I made my own go-kart out of wood and built the engine, and like, you know, just grew up that way. So I gotta figure out the fabrication for this last dress. So I'm gonna have to actually piece it together, which is interesting. So it's all engineering. So you got like, you know, for example, you got a piece here, and then you got this piece here, and then you got this piece here. So essentially, I could do different fabrics. And then sleeve piece here, but it's a half sleeve, so I could do the other half sleeve, another piece. So basically, I'll use all my leftover fabric for this last dress. I come from Tennessee originally and raised in the countryside with horses and nature. And I literally jumped in my Jeep one day and drove out here to Malibu. My only family friend out here, her mom was administrative counselor at Pepperdine, so she got me in on a half a scholarship. The other half, I lifeguarded, I worked for the dean of students.
It's just interesting. I remember Jeff as an organization communication major. He studied in Florence, Italy, and all that time you could see that his creative abilities were being honed and shaped.
And I started being a creative director of Stiletto Entertainment. Met Barry Manilou's manager, his name's Gary Keefe, who hired me on the spot. I'm traveling the world with Barry and other artists to set up their tours, creative direction, graphic art, all that stuff. So I was able to do my art through that, design merchandising, some stage clothing. After that ride with Barry, I was like, okay, I've learned enough. Yeah, I was always determined to come back to Tennessee to bring back this craft, this art I've learned. Obviously, my heart's in Tennessee because that's where I was raised, and the land and everything.
Get a bit of him in there.
You guys get it?
Yeah.
We good.
You're good.
Good?
Yeah.
Jeff is organic. He's real. He's from the earth. If it's creating clothing, it's all from the earth, using the earth with respect for the earth, and it's beautiful to look at. It's the same with his relationship with the ocean. He's a surfer. It's the same with his animals, the way he works with horses. I mean, they just feel each other, and it's a mutual respect.
Everyone's like, well, when did you start sustainable fashion? I'm like, what do you mean? That's how it began. Like, there was no starting because why would I do something that would destroy the environment I grew up in the woods and with animals? Hemp dyes much better than a cotton. Yeah, see, this is a cotton there. That's a hemp silk. So as you can see, it's lighter, so that means it doesn't take as well. So the cottons always take less. You know, so it's the same time, same dye solution, you know, that kind of thing. If you go in the dye houses or you go in the printing shops, I mean, it's gnarly chemicals and they're all hopefully wearing masks, but sometimes not. Imagine cutting these synthetic fabrics and you cut every day and these finite particles get loose, right? And they basically breathe them in if you don't wear a mask. So originally my first sample maker, she got sick. So after time, that build up, you know, obviously caused her lung damage. So I saw that firsthand, and I was like, why is she sick? You know, she works in this environment, and then, I figured it out. My mom had breast cancer, and so that got me thinking about intimates. So it's like, wow, these are the closest things we put on our bodies. Why isn't anybody considering this? Then I had a child who developed a heart condition because her grandfather ran basically dumped the chemicals onto the crop duster right next door, and I spent a year going every day to the hospital. So these things that aren't natural that we create, we have responsibility to further into studying and how is this going to affect us. It's all about how quickly can we get to market, how fast can we sell it, how much can we sell it for? What else in this world are we not questioning, are we not challenging? So it's either like, stop doing what I love, my passion, or figure out a different solution. I began doing the plant-based dyes and figuring that out because nobody was doing it. I spent time studying in Florence, Italy, so I learned kind of the art there. Let's make it a little bit stronger. Now we'll do a little, this is gonna be fun. So what I'm gonna do is mix these, and then I'm gonna have to heat it up for the indigo. It'll take a minute. I think the goal is to give everyone the decision, just like you would in your food. This is what's in your food. Well, this is what's in your bra. If you wanna wear it, sweat in it, go to yoga in it, wear it to bed, whatever, it's your choice. Even like using silver, I use silver spoons. I don't use, that affects it. Even if the pots are stainless steel or copper, those metals, it all is gonna affect it. And that's why I use glass for the mixing. Glass won't affect it. You know, your first challenge, obviously, when you're doing something sustainable, you have less choices. So in fabrications, obviously your dyes, vats, you have to like harvest your flowers. You can also source them from other farmers. I mean, there's more details to it than, like I said, just going to a dye house, picking a number, and in an hour the dye vat spits it out. So, this is the, I don't know what you call it, the concentrate. So then I'll mix it in just with the water and the vinegar and the crock pot all heated, and that will give me kind of more of the dye water vat that I use to actually dye something. Always fizzes. It's like those volcanoes you did as a kid. Kind of fake lava flow. Yeah, this color tone's great. You can see the color in there. The lace dyed out really well. You can see I didn't strain the indigo and the logwood. So where it touches the fabric, I mean, I can use it to draw, it'd become more purple. So when I wash it out, I'll get more even tone. I could strain it, you know, like here, and get out all the logwood of the dye. I kept it in there as a concentrate to make it stronger. But typically I would strain it, create the dye vat with just the water, not the logwood inside of it, so it doesn't touch the fabric, and then it'd be consistent throughout. But this way, I'm letting it kind of touch it and add some variations. That's part of the creative process. I could imagine not doing my own dyes now, because then, like, that's part of the creation. Well, the next collection is obviously the one we're working on now, called Atlantis, and simply, I'm working with Madeira and Portugal, and they have this beautiful arts craftsmanship of creating this lace, probably 16 hands on one piece of fabric, one piece of embroidery, and it's such a lost art. So we're using that on the new collection to kind of bring awareness and show, hey, there's a different use for this craftsmanship, and hopefully keep it alive. So this is, so the main feature of this one, which I think, yeah, I'm just gonna go underneath, is gonna be the, you can definitely see the Madeira lace there. So that's a completed embroidered piece. So they hand do each sew.
We have a very close relation with the Madeira embroidery. It's fascinating to know that someone from the States is actually working with an aspect from Portuguese culture and incorporating it in his designs. I'm very curious to see what the result was.
One of the dresses he pulled up and he held it to me and he said, this was a tablecloth that I found. Be able to take sort of a new design thoughts from America with an old, culture and product and put that together to come out with something so beautiful is great. I don't know how you put innovation better than that.
I imagine that the people in Madeira will be very honored to see one of their most traditional features in the island to be recognized abroad and to be modernized. It used to be that craftsmanship was linked to traditional businesses and old kind of stuff. And now, more and more, very creative artists and people are rediscovering it and transforming it for the new era that we are living now. So that's very positive, and we encourage that, of course.
There has to be something, whether it's financial, economic, literally just a push forward and a motivation to keep that product and keep younger people recreating and not letting it die off. It's just amazingly important.
It's artistic. If you think, you know, it's like painting or it's like a sculpture. By doing that, it's not mechanical. And it has all this, a traditional background underlying to these activities.
It's like in that air. Okay, perfect. And relax. Here we are. And step one leg forward. All right, I think I can go. Actually, do this. Go ahead and just walk towards me. See it flow. All right, and do it back, and then come at me one more time. I know it's a short runway, but just kind of like fake it, like step hard. Yep. Cool. Just trying to see. I think I want to take it up. It's hard work to show you what you've created in 20 minutes, and then it's done. You know, it's kind of like, oh, wow, that was a lot of work for like such a short show, you know. And I get jealous of these musicians that can like tour an album for a year, and then I have to change in 3 months. I got to do something bigger and better. It's like, okay, great. Yeah, I'm gonna have a heart attack soon, very soon. Right. Yeah. Yes. And slower, slower, slower. There you go. Boom. And right here. I think I'm the only designer that spends time steaming. Yeah. It just kind of forms garments, but there's especially with natural fibers.
Minha família toda estava envolvida em todo o processo. Eu sei tudo sobre as linhas, sobre o tecido, sobre o bordado, todo o processo também que as bordadeiras têm para começar e terminar o bordado. E isso para mim é importante. Desta forma estou a concluir um processo que é a promoção do bordado.
People are gonna be crowded on each side. You won't be able to move there. You have to stay on the red brick road the whole time. Or the only other pocket is this. Slow down a little bit, yep. And then here, you could do this like thing. You could do a little turn here and, yeah. It's still slow. You could do it there too.
And it's so interesting, you know, being a country that is new, exciting, and fascinated with European history. We feel this urge and eagerness and curiosity towards the historical aspects of Europe. So there's this, you know, cultural changing that is like wanting to happen. And I think it materializes through exchanges like these.
It's a symbol. And what we are celebrating here is how talent can team up and produce things that are amazing.
And one of the things I admire most about him is that he is a whole person. And he is authentically himself at all times. And I think you see that in his designs, and you hear that in his speech.
He finds more in me, and I think he finds more in himself, and I think that's why he's successful in such a challenging world. He doesn't let the roadblocks in such a destructive world stop him from doing the right thing the right way and creating beauty from it.
You know, if everyone's kind of retreating in the sustainability area and they're kind of allowing this greenwashing to take place and that's good enough and nobody's really saying, hey, no, there's more we can do, more than just picking one area, like let's do the whole gamut. That will encourage the up-and-coming students that are learning, the up-and-coming designers, like, hey, we got to keep this moving forward. So that's why I feel like I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, that's why I can't really rest. And so I'm willing to do whatever, sell the farm and, you know, keep everything moving forward because it's not about me or what I have, what I gain. So I'll keep doing this until it really does, you know, turn.